You can see there are various steps that are involved in a research process. So these steps are outlined here. First one is formulating the research problem. Then the second one is extensive literature survey. The third one is developing the hypothesis. Fourth is preparing the research design. Fifth is determining the sample design. Six, collection of data. Seven, execution of the project. Eight, analysis of data. Nine, hypothesis testing. 10, generalization and interpretation. And 11, preparation of the report, presentation of the results. So these are the 11 steps that are involved. So these 11 steps here I have shown in a different way in the form of a flow chart. See, first you observe, observation, broad area of research interest is identified. Then what you do is, there are two steps that are required. One is problem identification definition, and then preliminary data gathering. Now, once you define the problem,
One person waiting, and sir.
uh,
One person waiting, and
so then the next phase is theoretical framework, variables clearly identified and they are labeled, then hypothesis generation, and then scientific research design, data collection, analysis and interpretation, deduction, that is the hypothesis substantiated, research questions answered. So for these processes, for all these processes, a preliminary data collection and data gathering is also required. So what all I have listed above here, starting from formulation up to the interpretation, are shown here in this form. Here, the conclusions are not added. So in between these two boxes, or even after this box also it is appropriate. Below that, below this you can add conclusions and then reporting. That is thesis writing. So those steps which I have written here are shown here again. Identifying the research question or problem area, initial review of literature, then identify the specific research problem, continued review of literature. See, here the literature review is done twice. First time, to get a knowledge, get an information about the quantum of work that is done and to define your scope. Scope of the problem. So, based on this initial literature review, you will identify the specific problem and then continue your literature review and formulate the hypothesis. That means here in this step 5, you will finally identify your problem and draw the limitations or boundaries of your research. Then the formulation of the hypothesis, that means the problem statement, what you want to do. Then sixth is determining the basic research approach. That means what type of research you are going to do. Is it an qualitative research or quantitative research or analytical research or applied or pure? Is it experimental? Huh? Is it exploratory or explanatory? Like that, you will identify the type of research, and then you identify the tools required. That means here tools required means the techniques you are going to adopt, whether it is an experimental one or it is a mathematical simulation or it is a data collection through sample surveys or questionnaire and interviews or computer software application. So like that, in seventh step, you will identify the tools that are required to analyze the data if you already have, or to collect the data and then analyze it. Then choose the method of data analysis. That means when once you get the data, how you are going to analyze? Are you going to carry out regressions? Are you going to apply multivariate statistical approaches, or are you going to simply critically and logically interpret the outcome, or you draw a graph, or anything you may think appropriate, and you have to analyze the data and interpret. Then the final implementing the research plan and then preparing the report. So now I will explain each of these steps which I have identified here a little in detail. So formulating the research problem. So if when you want to formulate the research problem, you have to carry out the preliminary literature review, and then only you can formulate the problem, then identify the variables and construct the hypothesis. So this contains these steps, these tasks. So let us take one after the other. Literature review. Why would do literature review? To make your research problem clear and bring focus into it. And then the literature review will also help you to develop your methodology. Based on the work done by earlier investigators, you can identify the exact tools which suit to your problem. Then to know where you are standing, to have a broader knowledge in your area of research. So you have to strengthen your initial knowledge foundation in the area in which you are going to work. So for that, you require certain information. See, once you finish your research and start interpreting your results, then what you have to do is you have to correlate it to the physical behavior of the system, whatever you are taken. So for that, you must know how the system behaves. What are the characteristics of the system? What are the natural phenomena of the system? So that will be provided only through studying the work that has been already done by several investigators earlier to you. So your knowledge base will be broadened and your foundation, technical foundation status will be more solid. Then you go in for formulating the problem. See, any question that needs answer can be a research problem. However, not all questions can be transformed into research problems. So what matters here is your knowledge in research methodology, your knowledge of the subject area, your understanding of the issue to be examined. So if you have a better knowledge in the research methods, then your problem identification will become simpler. And whatever problem you identify in the field or by studying or through discussion with people. So whatever problem that will trigger out, you can find ways and means of how that problem can be solved through your research by having a proper information and knowledge of the research methodologies. And with your basic subject knowledge, also, you will be able to explain certain features or certain information that is available, that comes available during various stages of your research. And your understanding of the issue, that means the depth of the problem, you should know. So, continuing, formulation of a research problem is the first step in the research. Identify the destination before you start the journey. It is the foundation of your building. See, for any building, you will have a foundation. So, here also for your research, proper formulation is the foundation. Now, what are the sources of research problems? This already I told. People, individuals, groups, organizations, communities. So, when you meet people, either individually or in group, or you may go to an organization, or you may go to a clustered group of people, you will know what the problem is. Similarly, based on the problems, that means physically observing a problem, instead of discussing with people and identifying the problems through other people, you yourself can observe an issue or what happened in a situation or what are the needs of the industry. So based on this, you can formulate your research problem. So your research problem contains programs, that means the content, structure, outcome, attributes, satisfaction, users, and consumers. See, your research problem has to take into consideration all these aspects of programs. Then the phenomena, the cause and effect relationship. Study a phenomena itself. So you should try to identify the relationship between the cause and the effect. Then the research problem is your broad topic. Consider the following when you select a topic: your interest, your level of expertise, as well as your own supervisor. Then use concepts that can be measured. The topic should be relevant to your profession and subject area, availability of data, and ethical issues. These aspects I have hinted earlier also. Then formulation of objectives. See, earlier I have discussed about the objectives of doing a research. But here, the objective is your objective of carrying out the study. Now, for example, I will project a set of objectives which are identified by a researcher. Recently, I was referring. Oriented towards this end. In order to reach this goal, a number of objectives are to be fulfilled, which will be both primary and secondary. So your objectives can be primary objectives or secondary objectives. Since the study is with regard to spatial and temporal variations of the surface water quality, a proper data is to be gathered both location wise and duration wise. Similarly, as the problem is defined in terms of statistical analysis, the objectives are to be identified accordingly. This culminates to the below listed objectives, both primary and secondary. See, so based on the your research problem, this is your research problem, that goal. So two primary objectives are identified here. To evaluate the suitability of surface water for drinking through evaluation of water quality indexes at different stations along Brahmani River, considering the data sources available at 9 stations over a period of 15 years, along with another data available at 18 stations for a 5-year period, in addition to the primary field data collected for 2 years during 2016 and 17. So this is one objective. Then second objective is to carry out the hydrodynamic analysis of the river using appropriate river flow analysis software. Now, these are very broadly identified objectives. Now, a sequence of secondary objectives has been carved, carved up to fulfill these primary objectives, and same are delineated in the next section. Here I am explaining that. There are two primary objectives. One is the evaluation of water quality, the second is hydrodynamic analysis. So the first one is subdivided into calculation of water quality index at a different stations over a period something. To perform the factor analysis, this is another objective. To analyze the water quality parameters by applying artificial neural network, this is another objective. Integrating the preliminary water quality analysis and the results of factor analysis and cluster analysis, this is another objective. Then to develop surface water quality maps, this is another objective. So the primary objective is subdivided into those 5 sub-objectives or secondary objectives. Now, how you will fulfill those objectives? You will fulfill those objectives by doing some work, conducting certain activities like experimentation or calculation or both. So, to achieve the aforementioned objectives, the following specific tasks are identified. So, this is what your research process is. So, you have formulated a project problem and then identified the research problem, that is the research design. The research design in this case is water quality, spatial and temporal variations of water quality for a certain area, and using multivariate statistical approaches. So here, based on that, the objectives are defined, the sub-objectives are defined, and then the tasks are listed. So the tasks are, these are the tasks: secondary data collection, primary data collection, evaluation of parameters, calculation, analyzing the model and modeling water quality using some method, conducting multivariate statistical analysis, analysis of for identification of relative influence factors through some process, mapping of water quality index and parameters using ArcGIS, and then generation of the river simulation. So now here, when once you divide the entire objectives or split those objectives into number of tasks, your stepwise procedure will become simpler. So this type of identifying the primary objective, secondary objective, and then the tasks will enable you to plan your research and to search for the tools and conduct your research in a easy walk-through way. So this is the significance of the objectives and other things. Okay. So objectives are the goals you set out to attain your study. They inform a reader what you want to attain through the study. It is extremely important to word them clearly and specifically. Objectives should be listed under two headings: main objectives, sub objectives. So this is what has been done in the thesis I have shown you. The main objective is an overall statement of the thrust of your study. It is also a statement of the main associations and relationships that you seek to discover or establish. The sub-objectives are specific aspects of the topic that you want to investigate within the main framework of your study. They should be numerically listed. So that is what we have done there. Wording should clearly, completely, and specifically communicate to your readers your intention. Each objective should contain only one aspect of the study. Use action oriented words or verbs when writing the objectives. So, this is what is very much required. Now, all of you, what I suggest you is that all of you have done your BTech project. So, in BTech project, some work you have done. So, as an assignment, all of you prepare an information on you thinking that it is a research problem. So you write your research problem, you write your primary objectives and your secondary objectives. It may not be more than 3 pages, 2 or 3 pages. Okay. Or maybe 1 page also sometimes. So, but try to prepare this by going through your BTech project and trying to divide the whole work into simpler ones which you have done. Suppose you have designed a building. So first what you will do for designing a building, you will be what type of building is it? Is it a residential building or is it a hospital or is it a commercial complex like that? There may be. So why you have selected that? That is your area, your motivation and your area of research, you can say. Then what exactly you have done? That is overall research problem. And then for doing this, you might have identified objectives. One objective is to perhaps you might have done some survey work, or you might have collected some information, or you might have planned something, drawn something. So like that, you can divide your entire thing into objectives. Then for fulfilling each of objective, what you have done is the sub objectives. So like that, you prepare, and by before coming to the next class, all of you mail to me one page minimum, not more than 3 pages maximum, scanned copies of your assignments. You can treat that this is assignment one. So clearly identify your specialization, roll number, name, the heading of your BTech project, where you have done it, and then the information which I have asked. Have you all understood? I would like all of you to make a note of this. Yes. What are the characteristics of a research problem? So you can refer them in page 11 of notes which I have sent today. The purpose of research should be clearly defined and common concepts be used. The research procedure used should be described in sufficient detail to permit another researcher to repeat the research for further advancement, keeping the continuity of what has already been attained. The procedural design of the research should be carefully planned to yield results that areas of that are as objectives as possible. That are as objective as possible. The researcher should report with complete frankness. This is very important. Flaw, flaws in procedural design and estimate their effects upon the findings. Then the analysis of data should be sufficiently adequate to reveal as significant, and the methods of analysis used should be appropriate. The validity and reliability of the data should be checked carefully. So these are the 5 important characteristics of a research. These are the criteria of good research. Sorry. Then the sixth one, conclusion should be confined to those justified by the data of the research and limited to those for which the data provide an adequate basis. See, normally in many of the theses, whether it is PhD or MTech, of course, undergraduate, I don't blame the students. In MTech as well as PhD, people write conclusions. The conclusions are normally written which are obvious. You see, suppose if you take a metal rod and heat it, then what will happen? It will expand. So if you say that, if you have identified some new type of alloy and prepared a rod from it and heat it, and its length is changing, increasing. So if you report that by increase of temperature, the length of the rod is increasing. See, for that you need not do the research. It is an obvious factor. See, at the same time, if you write the way in which it is increasing as compared to the conventional materials, or if it is it increasing very fast, is it a linear proportion to the temperature, or is it an exponential way? So like that, whatever you report and conclude, it should be based on the data which you have generated, and with respect to that data only you have to give your conclusions. So that is many theses I have seen. They are failing. Greater confidence in research is warranted if the researcher is experienced, has a good reputation in research, and is person of integrity. In other words, we can say state the qualities of a good research as under. See, these are all the qualities of a good research. Systematic, logical, empirical, reliable, replicable. That means if I want to continue, I should be able. And here, just for information, the problems faced by Indian researcher are given. So these are the problems that are faced by researchers in India. So you refer to that also. Then normally people are committing certain errors in selecting a research problem. So here is the list of errors that normally people commit. Subject which is overdone should not be normally chosen. For I will be, it will be a difficult task to throw any new light in that in such a case. See, if some work is done already extensively, then there will be nothing for you to report. There will be nothing new for you to report. So you will be handicapped. Then controversial subject should not become the choice of an average researcher. If you are highly esteemed and if you are able to substantiate your work with your expertise and with your confidence, even controversial topics can also be considered. But for an average researcher, it is not suggested. Naming a broad field or area of the subject instead of a specific problem. So you must always see research is in fact a micro level. See, if you consider anything, the root cause will be a very, very small root cause. So you have to identify that particular cause. So that cause, how it is there and what is its effect. So you have to pinpointedly identify, not as a broad thing. Starting it in such a way that the investigation is impossible. See? You will start somewhere without having any background knowledge, without understanding. You start something like that, catching a running train, including in it terms of unscientific, emotional, or biased nature. See, including these things is not a wise step. Lack of precision in instruments. Then quantitative errors such as population specification error, sampling error, selection error, non-response error. These are all normally they reflect in humanities, social sciences, and management. So yeah. So identifying the variables. A concept or perception that takes on different values and that what is the time? 4 o'clock. Okay. That can be measured is a variable. It is something that varies. So what are the types of variables? Independent variables. They are responsible for bringing about a change in a phenomena or a situation. Then dependent variables. Dependent variables affects a change variable. The outcome of the changes brought about by changes in an independent. See, dependent, independent. The words themselves speak out the difference. So independently means they will have influence on the system. Dependent variable is the one which is influenced by the independent variables. Then there is another type of variables which are called as extraneous variables. See, normally independent variables many times will have a direct influence on the dependent variable. But there will be some variables which will not have direct influence, but they have some influence on another parameter which has influence on the dependent variable. So that means indirectly extraneous variables influence the variations in the dependent variable. Then intervening the variables. Intervening variables means there will be some variable which all of a sudden changes its nature and then brings a totally different type of behavior in the dependent variable. So those that link the independent variable and dependent variable. So these are intervening variables. So here I have explained about the independent variables and then the extraneous variables. So you can refer to the notes, page 15 onwards here. Dependent, independent variables, extraneous variables, confounded relationship, that is, so you can go through it. So the research hypothesis. Now the research hypothesis, where a prediction or a hypothesized relationship is to be tested by scientific methods, it is termed as a research hypothesis. The research hypothesis is a predictive statement that relates an independent variable to a dependent variable. Now, see, in each and every research, you know certain things. And what you do is, you will try to analyze what your knowledge is accurate or inaccurate. Is it appropriate or inappropriate? You know certain relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. So whether that relationship is in accordance with certain aspects which are known to the scientific community, or is it in accordance with the nature's behavior? So like that, you can always identify through a statement your entire concept of doing the research. That is what is called as a research hypothesis. It is an anticipation of nature or a hunch, assumption, or an assertion. A tentative statement about something, the validity of which is usually unknown. You do not know whether the relationship between the parameters which you have considered is appropriate or inappropriate. whether they are really dependent or not dependent. So the fact is unknown. It may be right or partially right or wrong. It should be simple. It may be simple, or it may be specific, or conceptually clear, or maybe complex also. So here you just go through this experimental and non-experimental hypothesis testing. I mean, the material is given here. So I will stop here and I will come back clear. It is not necessary to prove this. To make it possible to further explore the problem, it must be divided into smaller sub-questions. Conditions under which it is performed, the aspects of personality which should be developed. It must also be specified what kind of literature is meant. So, like that, this is a well established fact that home reading will help developing a student. Yes, it will help. But what are the conditions? Environmental conditions and other aspects. So, like that, this particular note will also give some examples, descriptive examples of types of research problems. So, this will enhance your knowledge on these aspects. This also I will mail to you now itself.